jungle, lion in the concrete jungle, lion in the jungle, lion in the concrete jungle.
Well.
Look who it is. It's them damn Stop the Ship boys.
Back at it again with them double-digit episodes.
Cheers it.
Cheers it.
Easy.
Easy. I'm not
Episode.
sore anymore, so.
I am sore.
Oh, you are sore?
Yeah, I went and balled yesterday for the first time in
Nice.
months and months.
I haven't played since fucking February.
And man, I'll tell you, I said like last week I had just started trying to eat cleaner, and so I'm trying to make small steps to move forward.
Hell
Let me
yeah.
take these off.
Getting real serious.
And so I was like, let me go to the gym, let me get a little exercise in. And I went with Ziggy and we balled. And dude, like we played one game to 16, just twos, half court. I'm like dying, dude.
Yeah.
Huffing wind.
That's how it goes.
I ended up like I sat one out, had to recoup, and then I got back out there and got a couple
You
more
had to
in.
sit one out.
But yeah, I had to sit one out, dead
Yeah.
serious. And dude, like I'm just like so exhausted. My body's just aching.
Dude, and it's when you play basketball and you haven't in a while, everything. 'Cause
In the
you
hands.
You
In the
use
hands.
muscles that you don't even realize.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But it's awesome. So I was thinking like that'd be a good way to get some cardio in. 'Cause
That's
my
basketball
thing.
is the best way.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You ever wrestle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrestling is
in
rough.
high school was savage.
Just
dude.
this one drill that you do where it's called spinning. The one dude just goes on all fours, and the dude on top just puts his chest on his back and just spins. And
you got to bear's weight.
Yeah, and, well, no,
If you're the guy
on
on
the
top.
bottom isn't hard. If you're on top, you just keep spinning. He's so tired, he keeps spinning. The coach is like, don't
Yep.
fucking stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good cardio.
Yeah. So speaking of, I was like, I want to try and do some alternative means of cardio. So basketball is one thing that I'm wanting to do. But I've got a guy named Mike Powell. Shout out to Mike. Real cool guy. He ever since we've been in high school, as long as I can remember anyway, of knowing this guy, he's done MMA. He
Oh,
fights
really?
and everything, yeah. And he trains out of Concord.
Okay.
And so, I hit him up and I was like, what gym do you go to? And he told me. And, because I'm thinking I would really enjoy getting a membership just to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, just to get conditioning in that way.
Fuck yeah.
Because, we watch MMA. I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
I've loved that for like over 10 years now. So not only to learn technique and shit like that, but just to get more conditioning. One of the things Ziggy said for a while now, he's like, listen, man, we all need to go and throw a little cash in and get a mat.
Yeah.
And just so we can roll around, because he loves it. And
Yeah.
he likes it like I do. We just need somewhere to put that mat.
True.
But no, I was
We're
inquiring
like,
about it.
fuck the podcast. Let's just fucking
we'll just
open this up.
But it's kind of expensive, man. I wasn't aware.
Dude, it's hella expensive.
I wasn't aware. Where he's at, it's like 140 to 160 a month. But that's 6 days a week, which apparently is really good. Like some places you could be paying more than that and maybe only be able to go 3 days a week.
Yeah.
So it's a good gig. I really want to get in there. He's
That's
one of
dope.
he's one of the first guys that I got to go to a gym with. Like back when he was at this other gym, me, him, and Peg all went.
Really?
And we all rolled around. It was a really good day. Really
Yeah.
good exercise,
There's something special about, working hard towards something, being active with your friends. Like,
Right.
It's just a completely different atmosphere than just hanging out.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you're doing something healthy.
Doing something healthy. And the second you leave, you go home, take your shower, you feel so much better.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
It's just about forcing yourself to get there. Because once you're there, you're like,
Yeah.
oh God, I'm here.
Right.
It's just about forcing yourself there.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy that I found out. What was that word that I said in the last episode?
Quicklier.
Quicklier. I looked it up because I was gonna make fun of myself, and I was
Right.
like, "That's really a word."
Yeah. I think it's
Adverb.
I looked it up also. It's like an older word though.
Yeah.
But before quicker came about, I suppose.
Really?
That's what it looked like. It said something about some kind of archaic definition.
You learn something new every day here on Stop the Ship.
Yeah, I don't know. I went to a rabbit hole 2 nights ago. I was looking up. I was just watching a bunch of different podcast segments, mainly comedians who were coming on Joe Rogan, who were they had some guy on there. I don't know his name, And then they had Tom Segura on there, and they were talking about how they had gotten kind of put on blast for certain jokes that they had made during their stand-up segments.
Tom got like a big one for
saying
putting
retard or something.
That and putting a wall around Louisiana.
I didn't see that. Yeah. But it got me thinking, so today is August 26th. Dave Chappelle's new Sticks and Stones special just came out on Netflix. Anybody at home, if you hadn't seen it, I couldn't recommend it more. Chappelle's the GOAT. But it's just very interesting because I was telling you a little bit before we started recording how he's very genius in the way that he phrases his jokes when he's talking about very controversial material. And, you know, in the way that Tom Segura or whatever that guy's name is, I wish I knew, how they would get put on blast, you know, and not to say that they're not geniuses in their own respect and as far as comedy goes. He's kind of talking about the Me Too thing.
Really?
Defending Louis C.K.
Oh, is he?
Talking about school shootings, like shit that's like serious that's happening right now.
I gotta check it out.
But he's able to put such a funny spin on it and distance himself in a way to where he wouldn't take any kind of repercussions for the things he's saying. It's fucking brilliant.
The way he weaves in and out of certain jokes, like that's what makes him the best.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, compared to those other guys, Tom Segura and them, they could hit those same topics, but they can't leave innocently like he can, you know.
Right. And I think he's just so well respected anyways. So well respected.
I went down a rabbit hole one time listening to people break down his style of comedy and why he gets away with stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, like how he puts his opinions out there but doesn't connect himself to those opinions, even though you could tell deep down that's what he thinks.
He keeps it, in a way, he really keeps it like purely observational. And
it comes down to what, you know, successful people talk about is putting in those 10,000 hours towards something. He's been doing it since he was 16 years old. He would have a boombox with a mic and just go out on the street and start performing in New York City. And so it's no surprise that 20, 30 years later
of doing that shit.
Yeah, it's just that's his shit that's ingrained. That's his basics. When he gets punched in the face, when he gets something in the crowd that he's not expecting, that's what he reverts to.
Yeah, and so I'm not going to spoil anything, but this is filmed in Atlanta. And at some point, somebody's phone starts going off, right?
Okay.
So you can imagine, like, if I were a stand-up comedian, which hopefully one day I can get on stage and do some shit like that. I will get on stage.
We will.
You know, you rehearse this set over and over in your head, but if something like that happens where you then have to pause, now maybe your mind, you know, it's a disrupting your focus. I mean, how do you revert back? That's the punch in the face for him. Yeah. Like that throws your whole game off.
Yeah, you had the whole set planned.
And now somebody's phone starts ringing or somebody starts heckling you. Yeah. Something like that, you know. Yeah. But he's able to pick it right back up without skipping the beat.
Yeah, that's what the best do.
Dude's a savage.
Anytime listening to, sometimes I'll just YouTube hecklers versus comedians. And, you know, Bill Burr's like one of the best at it. Right. But some of those are pre-planned. Like they have ideas of where they can go based off what these people are going to say. Yeah. Like, you know, they have counter moves.
Which is smart.
Yeah, it's really smart.
Hell yeah.
We got a big week.
What's our week?
Someone's got a birthday.
Oh yeah.
Someone's got a birthday this weekend.
Man, when you get this old, you stop worrying about it.
Stop the shit birthday, bro.
Yeah. So today's the 26th. Birthday's the 31st. I'll be 29.
Fuck yeah.
Getting close to 30, man. A lot of people really, you know, start to have like that midlife crisis thing. I mean, I know 30's a little early.
30's pretty young.
But you know, I'm cool, man.
Nah, yeah.
I'm happy to have made it this damn far.
Dude, to be honest, I always get my two best friends' birthdays like kind of mixed up because Cody's on the 8th. Okay. You're on the 31st.
8/8.
And there's been times that I'm like thinking it's your birthday on the 8th, and there's times that I've thought his birthday's on the 31st.
Right. You're hitting Cody up on the 31st. I did happy birthday, bro.
Yeah, so Cody, I'll be hitting you
I'm
up
like, bro,
week.
You're like 20 something days late. Yeah. Speaking of Cody, it's really cool to see what he's been doing, man. you know, like you were talking about how he grew up just like you guys did, right? I mean, in Jersey for the most part, around that atmosphere.
He grew up in Secaucus, like that's where he was born in a town right outside of it, lived in Secaucus his whole life.
Right.
Yeah.
And now he's like getting into hunting and all kinds of things.
Yeah, he's out
that
in
he
the
was never
woods in
around.
Pennsylvania. We talked about how he just bought his house.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's finding like new hobbies.
And isn't it interesting? Do you think it's the kind of thing where I don't know Cody as well as you do, obviously, but do you think it's the kind of thing where he's now getting separated from things that maybe would have previously influenced him? Like maybe he's not really that kind of guy. Maybe he's not really a Jersey kind of guy. Now he's finding out more who he is. Now he's separated from that.
It's interesting you say that. I think that's what happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it is good. You know, I've learned in my life, when you isolate yourself for a period of time, it could be really beneficial for you. It just gives you a chance to take a step back and kind of think about yourself and what do you like to do.
Right.
And by going out to Pennsylvania and him not having like his group of friends that he grew up with out there, he was able to kind of find his own path of what he likes to do. And it's been so funny talking to him. You know, he's so educated on this shit now, like hunting, and he bought his own bow, and he actually goes down to the range and like shoots the shit. And he's telling me about like, you know, all the different things, like how it's held on by magnets, and you know, it's just so cool to see somebody that like is close to you seeking knowledge outside of anything. We've never had a conversation about like hunting and shit like that. So it's just really cool to see people grow in that way. And, you know, that's what I like to surround myself with, all new things.
Yeah.
I don't like when things are just set in their ways and, you know, we're having the same conversations we had 15 years ago.
Right.
You know, I want you to bring something to me that you could teach me something, and I want to bring something to you.
Yeah, constantly evolving, constantly growing.
That's something I love about like most of my friends. It's nobody's complacent. What?
You like most of my friends?
Yeah.
There's a couple.
Yeah, there's always a couple.
I think we all got a couple.
Yeah, we all got a couple.
Same thing with Glenn, man. Now he's not in that environment anymore, you know?
Yeah.
First week out, had the cowboy hat, boots, belt buckle. So there's no telling where that fucking guy's going to go.
We see him like 2 months from now. He's got like the tooth missing. He's got the straw.
A fucking pack of chew in the cheek.
He's got the cigarettes rolled up in his sleeve.
Yeah. I could see him probably owning like a little spread one day, getting a little ranch, you know?
Dude,
a couple cattle.
Yeah, he's like that. He likes to be secluded at times.
Yeah, I do too.
Me too.
I really do. Like I said, I don't like all the hustle and bustle. I like being a lone ranger sometimes, man.
You think you'll stay in North Carolina forever?
Man, I don't know. There's no telling.
I was my lady, she's not too geographically educated.
Okay. Sounds like me.
Yeah, and I'm not like really good at it, but it's something that's always interested me. So I'm showing her different parts on the globe, like different parts of history that has happened in those areas. And you know, the globe is so fucking huge. Like, you know, if you look at the United States, it's so small compared to like Russia or Africa.
Right.
And, you know, and then if you look deeper, like I've lived in North Carolina and I've lived in New Jersey. So if you zoom out from that, like the United States is already really small, but just that part of the East Coast of the United States is so small in comparison to just the whole United States.
Right.
If you zoom out more and look at the whole entire globe, it's like, shit, like, why am I restricting myself to just right here?
Yeah.
You know, like, there's so much out there.
Right.
And there's so much history out there. If you think about the history of just where we are in North Carolina, it only goes back about, like, 400 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, it goes further back with Native Americans and stuff like that. But just America that they created has been around since only a couple hundred years.
Right.
But there's parts of Europe where people have settled there and they've been there for thousands of years.
Yeah, it's really
and there's so much history. And like, it's just crazy. Like sometimes I think like why can't I just go? Like Jose, my friend Jose,
Yeah.
just moved to England. He's got his whole family out there, and like that's their home.
Right.
That's their home now, and he's been all over the world.
You could.
Yeah, you can, and that's all it takes is just that decision to be like, fuck it, let
Yeah.
me try it out.
Yep.
And he'll have a better perspective than we all have of like, where do I want to settle down?
Right.
You know? And then his kids will have such a view of the world that maybe my kids don't have.
Right.
Perspective on, you know, what you really, it goes back to what we're talking about with Dakota. It's like, that's how you find the real answers, I think, by going out there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. At the very least, I want to do some traveling.
Fuck yeah.
At the very least, which I haven't done.
You got to.
Never left this country. My boy Bruno is finishing up his trip now. He's been all over Europe, I think. Like, God, I'm so geographically challenged, I couldn't even tell you. He's been in Germany. He's been to Paris. It's like, that's really cool. That's what I'd like to do. I'd like to do kind of a trip where I can tour multiple countries and like take the family. And dude's been over there for like 2 weeks now, which is like, for me, that seems like the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Take some serious time and go over there.
But all right, enough with this geographical, all over the place Sheboygan. Let's get into some fucking this or that.
This or that.
Let's do it.
Holla at your boy.
What you got?
All right, man. First scenario.
Let's hear it.
First scenario. So, would you rather have like a car of your choice, like a Tesla, damn Lamborghini, something like that,
Gotcha.
but you got to drive yourself around?
Okay.
Or would you rather have a chauffeur, a driver, somebody driving you around, but you're driving around in like a busted up ass hoopty?
The old hoopty.
I'm gonna say at least you got heat and AC in the hoopty.
Okay.
But it's
so
a busted
it's functional.
up raggedy.
It's just
hoopty.
like the body.
Like it
is-
looks, yeah.
The body's wore down, and it's like a 80s car.
Yeah,
Okay.
80s, something like that.
So, you know, me personally, I like to drive. My old job, I used to legit drive up and down the East Coast. I've been sitting in traffic for a third of my life.
You'd think that'd make you hate driving.
But there's something about just the journey and like seeing the sights and everything. Because I'll look at if I'm driving for a minute, I'll look at the road for 13 seconds.
Okay.
The rest of the time, I'm looking out into the wilderness. Oh,
Gotcha.
there's a bear. Oh,
Right.
like a dead wolf
And
eating
then you
a
wake
carcass.
up and you're at your destination.
Exactly.
Right.
And, you know, to have any car you want, like you said, the Tesla, to be able to have that car almost drives itself. By the
Yeah,
way.
true.
But to have like your dream car, like imagine like a luxury ass car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would take that. Just being able to drive yourself anywhere you wanted to go in like a nice ass car.
Right.
You know, there is something nice about getting driven around, but it's nice to live in luxury a little bit.
Yeah.
What about you?
I wouldn't know. Well, see, yeah, that's the thing. I wouldn't know. Like I've always drove busted up ass
Had the
hoopties.
hoopties.
And not all of them have had AC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is kind of a step up if we're talking about that. But nah, man, I'd rather be driven around. You know, I do want like a really nice vehicle. That would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't help but think about the kind of time. You know, we talked about in the previous episode how time is like the most valuable asset that we have. We can never get that shit back. How much more productive I could be if I had somebody driving me around and I didn't have to worry about that.
It's funny how some of our this or that stay in my head after a little while.
Yeah.
And that one that you're referring to where it's like, you know, snap your fingers and you have money, or
Right.
snap your fingers and you could transport anywhere you want.
Yeah.
And the more I think about that, like, obviously I'm still going to take the money, but
Okay.
there's something so valuable
Yeah.
in just being able to fucking go wherever you want in a second.
Instantaneously. Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm trying to think about too. Like the more that I think about certain things, it's like, what can I do that's going to save me time?
Yeah.
How am I going to be more productive and more efficient? Just interesting thought. Number two.
Number two.
Second this or that. So, for those of you who are watching here on YouTube, very much appreciate you. But if you're only listening right now, you're only getting half the experience. And if you were watching, you would see that your boy is kitted up right now in that salmon suit. So, in going along those lines, this or that, would you rather have an entire wardrobe like Robert De Niro on Casino?
Okay.
Like 40, 50 suits, just fully kitted up.
The cleanest suits.
Yeah, the cleanest suits, nice and tailored, nice and fitted, everything. Or would you rather have an entire wardrobe full of just like the dopest kind of sneakers that you would want? Like the Yeezys, all the like the rarest of Jordans, all of that. You know, I know there's a lot of sneakerheads out there who would choose that, and it's very valuable.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I've never been like a huge sneakerhead.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, everybody likes nice sneakers.
Right.
So there's value in that.
You even named your dog Sneakers.
Oh, yeah,
So
that was my dog.
I thought, maybe you would choose the Kicks.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. Sneakers.
And I don't even know if he's dead or not.
Yeah.
That's the fucked up
What
part.
if he is still alive? God. He's going to outlive us.
All right, we got to end this podcast, yeah.
So,
No,
so what would you choose?
Dude, those suits from Casino, holy shit.
Right. Yeah, those suits are fire.
Those suits are fucking fresh as fuck.
Yeah, man.
I love a nice wardrobe. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing better than going out, like, feeling fresh.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, you gotta usually make the shoes fresh too, but
Yeah.
taking up so much more of your body with the clean suits. I would go with the nice ass wardrobe.
Right.
You know,
I would too.
I'd go with the nice ass suits and the wardrobe, and I wear the freaking Jesus sandals.
Yeah. Because either way, is anybody really going to say shit to you? Like, even if you were fully kitted up from head to toe and you had some busted up ass shoes on, is anybody really, would they?
Like,
could they?
people would say something, but it's so much worse to have like the freshest kicks in the world, and then you got like holes in your fucking shirts
Right.
and jeans.
That's true. They're all dirty and
You got
stained up.
sweatpants on. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would take the wardrobe, especially if I could get those suits from Casino, bro.
Yeah.
I envy that shit.
Yeah, man. Like, this suit right here isn't tailored. This isn't fitted. This isn't anything.
There's
And,
something about them tailored suits.
I'm telling you, man, whenever it fits you just right, like the length, everything is to your specification, to your body type,
something special about it.
You just
So
feel-
that's what you would pick?
you just feel better. I would.
Yeah, I know there's them fucking sneakerheads listening to this pissed off right now. You fucking kidding me? You got the Jordans. You got the Yeezys.
More power to you, though, if that's what you like. And that is the point of this or that. So if you're listening or watching, let us know. Which one would you choose? Would you rather have a fire car, but you got to drive yourself, or would you rather be riding around in the hoopty, but you don't got to drive no more? Or would you rather have that fire wardrobe full of suits or full of sneakers?
You let us know.
Let us know, because we want to know. This or that, man. Hope you guys are enjoying this segment. We're trying to do different kinds of things to,
Spice it up a
keep
little
it
bit.
light.
Keep it interesting. It's like a relationship. You can't do the same thing all day, day to
You gotta
day.
mix it up a little bit, man.
Throw some spice
You know
in
what I'm
there.
saying? You gotta turn it around every now and
There
then.
you go.
You know?
Give a little smack on the caboose.
Yeah. They like the smacks on the caboose, man.
Yeah. Well, it depends on who, but yeah, most of them.
Nah, and the harder the smack, the better, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Unless you're not in the moment and then you do it, then they're like, all right, what the fuck you slapping me for?
That's true. That's true. There's a time and a place for these things.
Yeah, I got to pick and choose my battles.
Yeah,
Man.
but like, you ever... Never mind. Never mind. We're not going to go there.
Next
Gentlemen
episode.
don't tell secrets, you know?
And he is not a gentleman. I'll tell you that.
That's true. So I guess I could tell you everything. Yeah, you ever gave him a smack on the bottom and sent their head through the wall?
No,
I told
can't
a
say
story
that.
one time, so I'm not gonna say who it is. You know this person though. Said he was having sex with a girl, right? Not his girl, just a girl.
Okay.
They're having sex, and let me try and recall correctly. He's on top. They're doing it missionary style, and
Real
like
creative.
this dude, okay, listen, we're boys, right? So we fucking talk about these kind of things, right? So he's like, it takes me forever to bust, right? That's what he says. He's like, I just got to go and go and go forever before I bust. And he's like, so dude, we're like 35 minutes in, dude, and I'm just like sweating my ass off.
It's weird that he counted that specific, but.
And he said the sweat dripped off and hit her right in the eye.
Oh, that's a game changer.
He said it was over. He said,
yeah,
nope.
Dude, you know how salty a sweat bead is?
Right. Right to the eye?
That's a rough one. You ever sweat and then you get those white lines?
Yeah.
Imagine that in your eye.
Yeah.
That's that white line going in her eye.
Yeah, so I thought that was funny.
That'll stop the ship.
I was like, damn, dude. Somebody else I was talking to or heard, they damn like threw up during sex or something threw up on the girl. Talk about it.
Thrown up. Holy shit.
And they still finished.
Oh, that's how you do it. You got
that's how you know she's a ride or die right there.
Sometimes you just got to champ through. The worst is when you have pets and like they want to like get involved.
Oh yeah.
And you can't stop.
They're trying to get in the mix.
Yeah, so what you do is like, you keep doing your thing. You're like pushing them, slowly pushing. For some reason, dogs specifically, that like eggs them on.
Yeah, like, shit, let's keep on.
Yeah, we're playing now.
Yeah.
We're ready to party. So the best thing to do is that doesn't work out. Let them get involved in the mix. Throw a tongue in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bring the party full circle. You know?
Man, you ever caught a tongue to the asshole from the dog?
From the dog? Nah, not to the asshole, but he did lick my scrotum. No, I'm just
that'll. I don't know, man. That'll ramp things up a little bit.
Yeah,
it is a game changer.
And then who feels more awkward after it's done, you or the dog?
Definitely the dog.
They got that look on their face, like when they're like confused and
like I just kind of want to try this out, and then they try it out. And I'm like, oh shit, that is not what I was expecting.
Went too deep.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah, you gotta just you gotta lock the dogs outside the bedroom, man.
Yeah, but then it makes it preferably that's how it goes. But if you're being spontaneous and it just hops up out of nowhere, yeah, you can get up and fucking throw the dog out the window.
You could really give that dog a hard kick.
Or you do like a hard
I'm
kick.
trying to get the point across. Here.
Or you give him
fuck out of here.
Did you ever see the dog whisperer?
Yeah.
How he's just tss, tss, and he like gives him the old punch in the side.
Right.
You hit him with the old tss,
Yep. Get your ass back. Get out of here.
I wonder if that would work on like your lady if she's acting out a little bit. You're like tired of dealing with her shit. You just give her the old tss,
to the rib cage or something.
Yeah. All right, not a fix.
This podcast is really taking a left turn. People are going to be wondering what's going on. We're talking about walking on the soil of Jerusalem to getting your asshole licked by a dog.
Hey, that's what you get on this podcast.
Yeah, man. You never know what you're going to get.
That's the fun of it. Sometimes, if you've been watching, we'll get real serious.
Yeah.
Sometimes emotional. Sometimes inspirational.
Sometimes.
But sometimes,
get a little silly.
Because
we're all different people, man. We're diverse people,
Yeah.
You don't want to be a serious son of a bitch all the time.
Yeah, it just like kind of pigeonholes you into being. Then you start to think that way.
And then also at the same token, you don't want to be a super silly person all the time either.
Yeah, because then people won't always take you serious.
Yeah. They wouldn't.
So just like everything in life, like there's a balance.
Mm-hmm.
So you come here for the balance.
Come here for the balance, man. This podcast is like a box of chocolates. You never know. Was like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, I was about to correct you.
Was like a box of chocolates.
Better calm down.
Mandela effect, man. Shout out to Nelson.
I have other examples that I wanted to show you, but I forgot.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Probably for the best.
I'm glad. Man.
So what do we got? What do we got in the works? What's going on?
What's going on?
We've been grinding this summer, man.
Yeah.
And we're gonna keep grinding to try to bring these people that good.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of research on audio. Like we've got good video, 4K video, which is awesome. But this audio could definitely use some work. So I've been trying to just do research. And you would think that I would know a lot more of this stuff since I've recorded music my whole life, but obviously I haven't known what I've been doing. So we're going to get some new shit on board.
At 17, when you're struggling broke as fuck, you can't be buying those expensive ass mics. So it makes sense why you wouldn't.
But at the very least, I could have been doing research.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a piece of shit. What do you want me to tell you?
That's exactly it. That's the truth.
So we got that in the works. We got that Stop the Ship storefront coming pretty soon.
Storefront's going to be coming soon.
Excited about that. I'm going to get that fucking Stop the Ship fitted.
Snapback.
No, not a fitted, a snapback.
We're going to, it's not going to be up right now, but coming up soon, whenever we do announce it, you're going to be able to find this storefront in the links in the description here on YouTube. So if you are watching this on iTunes or listening on iTunes or Spotify, not only will you be able to find the storefront in the description on YouTube, but you'll also, if you're not following us on Facebook or Instagram primarily,
get your ass over
you should be doing that. So if you're listening at home, I don't know, do we ever drop it in the description? We drop it in the description of the episodes. Yeah, so in the description of this episode on iTunes and Spotify, that's where you'll be finding our links to the storefront also.
And just so you know, anything that you get, of course, it supports the podcast, but it goes directly back into the podcast.
Yep.
You know, so
we won't be paying ourselves shit until on down the road.
Way on.
But honestly, like this is, it's things that we need in order just to continue to try and revamp this podcast and provide better quality. Because that's really the goal. Like, we love this shit. We're passionate about this.
Fuck yeah.
Obviously, you could tell because we kind of talk about this in every episode, it seems, about our progress and what we've been doing.
We just want to keep you guys involved.
But that's really it. Like, we're trying to set goals, and every step of the way, we have been executing everything that
Checking it off the box.
That we've been visualizing. So, whenever the time comes that we do drop this little storefront, we're going to be happy of the kind of quality of products that we're putting out. But, it is all going to go back into helping support this podcast and keep giving y'all that dope.
That dope. That good.
Dope, though.
That new.
So I'm excited, man. I've been working with our boy Glenn, trying to get some more imagery, get some more graphics done.
Get more than just this logo. So you could throw up other things on the merch.
And I'm excited, man. We've been getting, a lot of people have been reaching out to us that we personally know who are excited about wanting to get a mug, wanting to support in some kind of way. So that feels good, man.
Fuck yeah, it does.
It's validation, Like, back whenever I was making music, and it could have been just because I was a shitty artist, it could have been. But, the hometown support wasn't necessarily there.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. But here, we're getting people reaching out to us and, showing love, and people are excited, like, trying to get on the podcast.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. It kind of tells me that we're doing something right.
Yeah, I think so, too. We got a guest coming up, somebody who's been a childhood friend of ours, started back in the landings.
Probably next week you'll see him. Every time we're
talking. He's a entrepreneur.
Yeah, exactly.
A friend.
Yeah.
Real positive dude on his own fucking journey, and that's why these collabs are so cool, because everybody has their own thing and their own opinions and everything, and then when we bring it all together, it makes for something special usually.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. We've been reiterating, but I want to inject perspective into this podcast. I want to get people in here who, do shit that I don't have any clue about, but that I can gain either some kind of motivation from or just insight.
That's why the interview with John Halls was so cool. Like, I've watched that back a couple times just to hear, he's not a friend of ours. He's not somebody that we know deeply. So during that podcast, we kind of got to know him.
Yeah.
And his perspective was so unique, and I took so much from it.
Yeah.
So cool.
Exciting.
That's what would be cool about getting random guests on and, learning new shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this NRSNG 2020 coming up in April, there's going to be a lot of cool people there who I want to try and set up a few podcasts with also. There's going to be a guy there, I can't remember his name, but he's the founder of another educational business, who actually sponsored NRSNG's Live this past year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's going to be there. So it might be cool to reach out to him and get him on, but just trying to give you guys and ourselves just different perspective. I will tell you guys one thing.
Let's hear it.
Mr. West's sister, she's starting her very first day or night of school, which was something that she told us that she kind of got inspired to do because of us, which is exciting, man. Like Shane said, this is like at least one good thing that's come from this podcast, which, you can't put a value on that shit. That's more reward than anything.
Yeah, especially if you fast forward years down the road and she's been doing something that she loves to do, which in turn makes the household more positive,
Right.
which goes into my nephews, and then they become more optimistic and want to go after what they wanted to do.
Man.
And then all of a sudden you look, and there's a chance that because of this podcast, 20 years down the road, my nephews are following their dreams.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
The trickle effect of small things and small details, like it's like the butterfly effect. They echo in eternity.
Right.
You know?
I got that tattooed on my ribs. You know that?
Really?
What
does it say?
What we do in life echoes in eternity.
That's fucking dope.
But
it's true.
It is true. Yeah. You know, I had a conversation with Ziggy. I thought we were about to wrap this podcast up, but I'm gonna keep going. I was having a conversation with Ziggy, and you know, talking about religion, but not only just religion. It's applicable to everything. Whenever I was in church, like a long time ago, man, I remember the pastor giving his sermon, and he was talking about, you know, whenever you try and, you know, as Christians, you're supposed to spread the gospel of Christ. And he's like, you know, some people just aren't going to hear it. They're not going to want to hear it. That's fine. No problem. But all that you're doing is planting a seed.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I was just using religion as an example. That's how we brought it up. But that's the same thing that this podcast is doing. Like, right? What did it do with Amber? It planted a seed in her mind. Like, you know what? Maybe I can fucking do something. Maybe I can do what I've been wanting to do. And that's all that's the hope anyway. All this content we give you guys, it's cool. We tell some jokes, you guys laugh or whatever. But hopefully for somebody out there, something we say resonates and it plants a seed. And they might not act on it then, but I still remember that fucking sermon all these years later.
Really?
It's that seed that got planted. So, you know, it's interesting. These things can be long lasting. That, you know, somebody might not act on it now, but maybe 5 years from now they're like, you know what, man, I remember that damn one episode where they were saying all I gotta do is put a plan in place, like, and I've been bullshitting for the last 5 years, or just as an example. But it's interesting stuff, man. We might not see the fruits of our labor now, but we are planting seeds. And
fuck yeah, that's what podcasts have done for me. You know, listening to a podcast have planted those seeds of, you know, learning so much more about myself.
Yeah.
I thought, like, you know, within myself and my own world, I thought, like, you know, I had things figured out. Like years ago, I thought, like, you know, I was good. But I've just been on this new journey of, like, understanding, you know, I've talked about it a bunch on here, is just like understanding my feelings and why I do and think the way that I do.
Yeah.
And that all came from listening to other people's perspectives about these types of things, and psychologists and doctors like speak about these things and these triggers that we have. And it's just so interesting. Like, what I've been doing in this past month is, the second I feel anything, the second I feel angry, sad, happy, any feeling that I feel, I like question it.
Why?
Because I'm trying to get down to the source of what's really going on.
I meant, like, you're asking yourself why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting how you can think, if you don't do that, you'll never really understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
Because you think it's like your brain has layers, like an onion. And on the front layer, like, if you're angry because, you know, you were late for something, you're thinking, like, you know, that's what I'm angry at. Obviously, like, that's the thing. But if you just go deeper and you start to question things, you're like, well, where did this come from? Oh, well, that one time, like, when I was like 12 years old, I was late for football, and, you know, I didn't make the team.
Right.
Like, because the coach was like, you know, if you can't do this, you know, this is just an example. Yeah. But, you know, so that's when lateness started to, like, get into your head, and then it started, maybe a built-in anxiety.
Right.
You know, so it goes deep, like, all these things.
For sure.
And back in the day, just because of what I've been through, I felt like I never really felt anything. And I'm sure in some ways you can relate to that, to where you don't really, you don't have any feeling.
Right.
And when you do start feeling and you start going through those things, it's so much harder than it was years ago when you were like, didn't feel anything.
Yeah.
But it's so much more beneficial to go through that. I'm able to nip things in the bud, like, for myself, so quick. And I'm not impulsive like I used to be and stuff like that. And it all comes from just having an understanding within yourself.
Yeah, that's what's up. A lot of self-analysis.
Yeah.
A lot of self-reflection.
Like constant.
Yeah. It's a good way to be. It's a hard way to be.
It's hard, but like everything's hard.
Yeah. Well, primarily because it kind of seems like it goes against just how we're wired in general. Like, we're humans. We have human instincts. We are going to react. We're reactionary. You stub your toe. You're going to get mad.
Yeah.
You're late for something. You're going to be irritable. It's not something that you're making a conscious choice about. It's just ingrained in you.
But that's where it gets real interesting is I truly believe that the human brain creates problems now because we don't have any of the problems and worries that our species had when we needed all those things. And we needed to, worry about where we were going to get food and how we were going to get shelter. And if, somebody was going to attack you out of nowhere, like you didn't get a Instagram message like, yo, they're on their way.
Yeah.
You had to constantly worry about this. And you didn't have to worry about going to work and making a living. And so I feel like as things have evolved, you see it in our culture today where people are so offended by things and they create these problems. You also see it in people that struggle with mental health, which I think we all do in some ways. You create this chaos in situations that aren't chaotic, especially people that come from trauma.
Yeah.
You create this chaos out of nothing. And I truly believe that it's something that our brain is doing, and it's just like ingrained in us. Like we have to problem solve, so when we don't have problems, we create problems.
Gotcha.
And especially with, I know like this is a lot, but especially with addiction. So this is something that people do with addiction. So whatever your thing is, if it's alcohol, so you stop drinking alcohol, right?
Right.
So, it's going good, like you're not drinking, but then all of a sudden, like things start to happen that push you towards that alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Like situations happen, you get stressed out, and it pushes you towards that alcohol.
That's when you get punched in the face and you revert back.
Yeah, and you revert back. But the problem that happened may be being created by your addiction, because it knows, if I create this problem, that's what's going to bring them back.
Got it.
And I really believe that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I've noticed that in addicts, you'll create something that's not really there. That
Right.
if you were drinking, that problem wouldn't have been created because your
brain's
brain
getting
gets
what
that.
it wants.
Yeah. So that goes into what we were talking about with the sugar and everything like that. Like I'm starting to notice these patterns in like the way that people's brain works, where your brain is going to get that satisfaction. It's going to get what it wants, unless you fight against it, which is so hard.
Which is what you've been saying, doing the self-analysis. Why am I feeling like this?
Exactly.
We're basically at war with our brain.
Dude, I believe that like wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what trauma comes from.
But it's interesting because us saying we're at war with our brain is basically saying our brain's at war with our brain. I mean, that we are our brain.
Yeah.
So
But
that's interesting.
Yeah, and it goes so deep, and it's just forever. It's like a forever thing. And some people don't have these things as bad as others do.
Yeah, sure.
Like for me, I don't struggle with that as much as some people that I see around me that open up about these things. And so not only am I analyzing myself, I'm also analyzing the people around me.
Right.
And it's just, that's one thing that I'm starting to pick up on. I'm like, the brain will create something to get that, fucking thing that it needs.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
That's true, man.
So that's my little self-analysis drop in knowledge that I'm learning about.
Well, that's actually very beneficial. I mean, if you guys listen to that actually intently, that was pretty wise. That makes a lot of sense. I like that.
Yeah,
man.
and it comes from just being ingrained in that environment, and instead of just taking it for what it is, like, no, this is my life and this is always what it is, just fucking questioning everything and being like, why is it like this? Why am I like this?
Right.
That's the only way to get yourself out of the sunken place.
Yeah.
Like, it's the only fucking way.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I've been trying to do that a little bit more myself also. Like these last couple of days, I've been pretty irritable, you know, and it could be like the new diet I've started, trying to eat better, whatever it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like, so the more irritable you get, the
and your
more
brain's like, dude, if you would just eat that damn thing,
you'll feel better.
Right.
Fuck, dude, that's what I'm telling you. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So you know,
so
just start to do that.
So then what is it? Is it just the you're almost having to, so when my brain, essentially thinking about it, if my brain is telling me like, dude, you really want that sugar, so now it makes me pissed off, right? Now I'm irritable, so if you would just eat that shit, you'd feel better. Maybe my brain, you could look at it like a circuit board. It's wired a certain way. So maybe us continually doing the self-analysis and shit like that, slowly rewiring things, rewiring your brain to...
That's a perfect analogy. That's exactly how it goes. And then you could get to a point, and maybe it takes a long fucking time. Think about how long of a life you've lived with your circuit board that way.
Right.
It's not just like, oh, now I know, so tomorrow it's different.
I'm good, yeah.
Like, it takes forever, and it takes all those slip-ups and then those setbacks, and then you realize, like, you know, you do that self-analysis, and the timetable becomes shorter and shorter and shorter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's about, is trying to get that timetable as short as you can to where you start to recognize things within the minute, within the day, within the week, you know?
Or maybe you stop experiencing those fucking things altogether.
Well, that's the goal.
Yeah.
But it doesn't start out like that. You do start to have those slip-ups.
Right.
To where you learn from, and then eventually you fine tune it so much to where the circuit board is different.
Yeah.
And you know, that's now your circuit board is that way. So I'm saying, what is it? Circuit board?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you know, to get it back the other way would take all that time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's so important, man, on this life to not take things for what it is. Like, anytime I'm closed-minded about something, or I have an idea in my head that I don't like something or something like that, that's when I question it. I'm like, why? Like, where does that come from?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have these defense mechanisms like set in place within ourselves, and we don't even fully understand it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking crazy, man.
That's
We're
interesting.
going to break the cycle. We're going to stop the ship.
Yeah, exactly. Pursuit of self, man. Pursuit of self. Trying to find out more and more, like you said, who we are, and then also just to weed out all the excess bullshit that's holding us down.
Yeah.
Trying to cut that anchor, man.
Because just like we're talking about how these things plant seeds, and maybe, you know, us doing the podcast and my sister listening to it, and then 20 years from now, her kids are going after their dream. Just like those seeds can be planted, so can the negative ones that last for generations, like, unless you stop it.
Right.
And then you're plaguing, like, your family, your grandkids.
That's true.
All that stuff.
That's
and
true.
It's
not
like,
just us we're affecting.
Yeah, and it's like, where does that cycle stop?
Right.
Like, in my lineage from...
Stops with us.
Yeah, it does start with us. And in my lineage, like, you know, there's plenty of people in my family that are good people and stuff, but there's people in my family that, you know, have bad struggles. And in some ways, some people would, like, you know, my family name isn't like prestige. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So my goal since I've been younger is to be different.
Right.
And change the lineage, so when I have a grandkid, like, they're more like me instead of like my whole family.
Yeah.
So there was this tattoo that I really wanted to get. My dad, who we've talked about, he passed away. He wrote a letter to my cousin, the one that was on intervention.
Mm-hmm.
They were very close.
Gotcha.
They both dealt with substance abuse. He wrote this letter to her, and he put in there that you are so, this is word for word, you are so beautiful and talented, but you have that west devil of self-destruction in you, right? And growing up, I felt like that too. Like, even though I wasn't self-destructive,
right.
this narrative kind of like stayed with me because of what my dad said. And at one point I wanted to get that tattooed on me.
Yeah.
Like, and how crazy is that? Like, it's like I'm putting a narrative like into my life that has nothing to do with Shane.
Yeah.
And it goes into every single thing that we're saying. Because my dad said something like that, I can continue that lineage, and now my grandkid thinks that we have some self-destructive gene inside of us. But that's bullshit. You push against it. You think outside of your family's way of thinking, outside of your environment's way of thinking, and you create the way of thought of you.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I'm all
hyped up. No, it's true. You should be passionate about that because that's exciting. And that's true. It does start with us. Yeah. It does start with us. We are the ones to break the cycle.
Fuck yeah.
Because like you said, I mean, we do get wrapped up in so much that what we do affects us and us alone, or maybe it affects those around us. But whenever you do start thinking like that down the line, like how is this shit going to permeate my lineage down the line? I mean, we have a much greater responsibility than I think we realize.
We really do.
So that's
and just in the sense of happiness too, like not even so dramatic, like just in the sense of being positive.
Right. Kanye West said, and I know he's controversial right now, but he said, "I'm gonna make my name last. I put that on my last name."
Yeah, like, West.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, West, right?
Yeah,
but
so me and Kanye are at the forefront of changing the way that people look at the last name West.
It's something about the Wests, man. Yeah, that's cool.
And I love you, Dad, but fuck you, bro. That self-destruction ain't in me.
Yeah, what were you thinking? Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike.
Well, he wrote that letter without the intention of me reading it.
Yeah.
But maybe that narrative stayed with her.
Right. Right.
Fuck.
No, that's true. That's kind of an epiphany there. Maybe it did. So good for you, man. Change that fucking narrative. It's not the devil.
And it's fucking hard, man. It's real fucking hard because you only know one way of living, the whole way that you've lived.
Yeah.
So to think of it outside of that takes forever, man.
Yeah.
Like it's I'm still on this journey, and it's been so many years,
Whenever I was raised, so my dad was a really good guy, right? Like a fucking good-hearted dude. He really was. Had many, many flaws. But he was a racist son of a bitch. Like, he really was. And so whenever I got raised, all my young sponge head was being filled with were all of these thoughts of what black people are like. This is how black people really are, son. Yeah. That kind of thing. And, it's just an example to be used in comparison to what you're saying. This is the way Wests are. This is what Wests struggle with. And, I mean, it takes a long time to undo that. And at a certain point, I realized, like, my dad's fucking full of shit. Like, what is he talking about? I'm looking at all these black people around me. Like, I'm not seeing what you're seeing. Like, that's weird that you're thinking that way. But, without that realization, I would have never known. So it does come through that analysis. Just asking why. Why is this that way?
And if you don't have that analysis, you would have gone your whole life thinking that way.
So many people
and that would have spilled over into your son.
And so many people do. Yeah. Exactly right. And I see it. I've got friends who have, crazy ass thoughts and opinions on black people or Mexicans or whatever, and it's just like, wow. Like sitting back looking at that, it's like, wow, man. These people never asked that question, why?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Or they never had a conversation to realize, like, oh,
true.
There's no fucking
Or maybe
difference.
they didn't have people around them like you and I to maybe help facilitate that change in their mind. But either way, again, that is kind of the root of this shit. This is stop the shit, man. Yeah. Like in all senses of the word. Just trying to be better versions of ourselves.
Yep.
Pursuit of self. El León en la Selva.
Yeah. So hopefully, we have something in here that people could take away and,
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it's a little bit lengthier. Maybe you enjoyed that.
Yeah, some people have been asking for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, trying to give y'all what y'all want.
Yeah. That's what we do here.
Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for hanging out and, again, spending a little time with us this week. If you're new to the YouTube channel, please subscribe. If you prefer to listen, iTunes and Spotify, you can find us there. All the social links are below. If you got a this or that you'd like to submit,
Send it on in.
Email.
StopTheShitPod@gmail.com.
That's all we got, man. Be on the lookout next week for an episode with our boy Tyree. It's going to be a very good and motivational episode. And maybe we'll reminisce a little bit about our childhood.
Fuck yeah.
Get Tyree's perspective on some things.
Yeah. Pete? All right, I'll save it.
Guys, we'll see y'all next week, man.
Peace.
Peace.
Lion in the jungle, lion in the concrete jungle, lion in the jungle, lion in the concrete, yes, lion in the jungle, lion